Coach Ryan Cottingham from Spring Arbor University. Welcome to the BCAM Podcast.
Hey, man, thanks so much for having me. What an honor it is.
We're so excited to have you here at the clinic. One can just feel your energy. I love it. Talk to us about being a transformational coach.
Well, I think the older we get, we were talking about that a little bit earlier, I think the more things become clear, we're able to put it in perspective, what matters, right? What matters long term. And, we talk about, you want to be a transformational coach or a transactional coach? Are we going to coach character and identity and purpose and significance? Are we just going to coach for wins? And because that's just so shallow, it's just fleeting. It doesn't last. It's not long term. We think winning is a byproduct, right? We want to cultivate relationships and pour into young men and do life with them. And then, okay, we want to be fierce competitors. We always say winning is always our goal. It's just never our purpose. We just want to have clarity on purpose. I think that's all any of us in life want to. And I think, on the court, when you have a group of guys coming together, it's like, hey, we got to be one. You talk about unity as one of our core values, and we have to have one goal, one mission, one purpose. And so the transformational piece, I think, is just huge. We just had our homecoming yesterday, and guys come back. Your former players, they bring your kids. You're holding their babies. That's what it's about, right? That's what it's all about. I mean, we're not talking about game. We're talking about life issues, wives, children. And that's what's so rewarding about coaching, right? Is the relationships that you have for the rest of your life.
Love that. You mentioned core values. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Get us into the Spring Arbor window there. We can see your program up close a little bit.
Yeah. So I keep things pretty simple because I'm not very smart, as my guys will attest to that. I always say surround yourself with good people, right, and then get out of the way. And so we do that from our associate head coach and Coach Stowe and our guys. They're just amazing. We talk to them about die to self. It's our mantra, die to self. And it's hard because we're so self-centered. It's the way and it's like, no, every day, not make it about me, right? And we were talking about fearless humility, and humility is all about serving. To be humble is to serve, to have that mindset, and to not what is in it for me, but how can I give, how can I impact and make a difference. So our three core values, they're quite simple. Integrity. Your yes has to be yes, and your no has to be no. Right? They have to be in alignment, because if you don't have integrity, if we can't trust each other, if your word's not good, we've got problems. Right. And so we always start with integrity. And what does it mean to be a man of integrity? And your actions have to be in alignment. It's easy to say all the right things, but are you going to do the right things? And it's day after day. And it's hard, because the further along we get, the more we become self-aware of our own shortcomings and failures, and sometimes we try to hide those, as opposed to say, "This is who I am, man. I'm broken. I'm incomplete, and this is what I've got, and this is where I want to go." And it's that lifelong journey that we're on. And so our second core value, we talk about toughness. We use toughness because we talk about body language a lot with our guys. What is their body language like when they fail? What is it like when they win? And so how are they gritty? We talk about their work ethic. And one of the coaches came in and talked to our guys, after we finished, about not taking plays off, about every time, that consistency. That's what you're after. We're not after greatness, because greatness can be a one-time occurrence, but consistently, those are the ones you can count, and they show up day after day with the right attitude, with the right frame of mind. They're pros. They go to work, and you know what you're going to get from them. And that's just, to me, is a sign of toughness. And then our third core value is unity. And again, I was talking earlier about die to self. What does that look like? How do we become selfless? How do we serve? We don't do captains on our team. We want leaders, and anybody can lead. And the reality of it is, we're all leaders, because we're all people of influence. So how are you choosing to influence others? You're either going to choose them positively or negatively, right? And I think that's real important. That's the old John Maxwell, leadership is influence. And so the unity thing, that's what I love about sport. We come from all different backgrounds and beliefs, and it's like, okay, we're coming together to shape and mold as one, one heartbeat mentality is what we're after. And so again, we're trying to teach guys life lessons. And what's great is, oftentimes they teach us way more than we teach them, our players. And it's great to be around young people. They're just incredible, and they're so alive and curious. And that's what we have to stay, regardless of age, we have to stay wildly curious about people. right? And get to know them and be okay if we have differences, right? I think too often people come together because we can disagree and still get along and love each other well, right? I mean, we talk all the time. I heard this from Lou Holtz many, many years ago. You guys would remember, Lou Holtz, former Notre Dame, legend. It was 1988, and he's doing a speaking gig at a luncheon out in California before they play USC. And I never forget this. It was on an old cassette tape, and I heard it, and so I stole it. He says, do what's right. He talked about his 3 rules, and we just call them our standards. He says, do what's right. Be and do your best, and love others. And so we try to live by that with our guys. Hey, do the right thing. Right. And you do the right thing, you got to avoid the wrong thing. Right. And then be the best version of you can be, and the same with me. So be your best, and then do your best in everything, and then just love other people. Right. And it's amazing what can happen if we get out of the way and just love people well and stop. We can't have a critical spirit or mind or come up. How can we ever complain? If we have an attitude of gratitude, we've been so flipping blessed beyond what we deserve. Right? We don't get what we deserve. Right. We're grateful for mercy, but we want other people to get judgment. You know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute, that doesn't work like that.
Right. Love that. Love everything about that. So our theme this year is networking. Can you tell us a little bit about your thoughts on networking, maybe some advice for our coaches out there, or maybe how networking has played a role in your life?
Yeah. I'll go back to I mentioned just a minute ago about being wildly curious about other people, because I think oftentimes people think about networking because they're wanting to get something out of it, or how to. Again, it's about building their resume. I talk about are you coaching for your eulogy? Or are you coaching for your resume? Because I think there's a big difference. Sure. I mean, the whole idea to me of networking is just building relationships, just being there for somebody, right? Because we're all going to go through a crisis. Either you're just coming out of a crisis, you're in the middle of a crisis, or you're getting ready to enter a crisis. And oftentimes we're in all 3 places at the same time, or 2 of those 3. Right. So how do we just get to know people? Because everybody's got a story. We've all got a story to tell. Right. And everybody wants to be able to share it. So I need to be a better listener. I want to hear people's story and get to know them. So that's part of networking. That's why I appreciate you. When we met a few years ago and we had lunch then at Red Robin there, you know what I mean, in Ann Arbor, and Dan back here, and you guys, I glean from you guys. Again, if we have a learning posture, mindset, I mean, we're lifelong learners. Right? And we want to grow and glean from other people. I don't care if it's a new coach, if it's an 18-year-old freshman on our team that I can learn from. I just want to learn. Right. If you come in with all the answers, I mean, you're done, man. You know what I mean? You're just done. So networking is huge, but it just enriches our lives personally, and then we get to enrich other people's. It's that, how do we pour into each other's lives? It's crazy what we get back in return. It's just far beyond what we can imagine. I never forget this. I heard this story years ago at a clinic, like this, and I'm not sure which one it was, but it's back like when we used to be in Lansing. You'd go into a room, and then you'd just take notes, and they'd have the projectors up there, and they're doing winding the screen, the diagramming, just old school, but we'd be packed in there, and everybody's taking notes, and it was really good stuff. And I heard this story about guy comes in and sits down, and he's late, and he starts taking notes, and there's a guy next to him. He's not paying much attention, and he's just as fast as he can. He's frantically just taking notes, right? And just, man, as fast as he can. And when there was a break in the action, this young coach turns over and looks to see who's sitting next to him, and it's John Wooden sitting next to him. Here's the deal. Coach Wooden had already retired. He had already won 10 national championships, and he's still at a clinic taking notes, still learning. I mean, are you kidding me? Right. A lifelong learner. I mean, well after he was coaching, the people that were traveling out to meet John Wooden and to glean, I mean, his impact and influence, are you? And that's the thing.
Everlasting.
It's everlasting. And so the platform that we have through sport to reach people through podcasts, are you kidding me? Man, they say a coach can have more impact on a person in a year than most will on that individual in a lifetime. That's pretty powerful, but what a crazy responsibility that is too. I think we can't take that lightly. We think, I got to win this game. No, we're talking about winning in life, man. Yeah. Oh,
well said, Coach. Thank you for joining the BCAM podcast.
My pleasure, as always.